Welcome to the episode of For Football Is Only. I'm Coach Mike.
I'm James Pinay.
And we have a special guest.
Oh, it's Masai Brown-Andrews.
Nice. Welcome.
Masai, nice to have you on.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, Masai, let's get right into it. Tell us about your football journey. How did you get started?
Oh, man. So, for me, my football journey, it starts before me, because from my father's side, we're from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, small island in the Caribbean. So, I got my Uncle Jerry played for the national team of St. Vincent. Just got family that's always, from that side, who's always playing football. I got a cousin that plays in Canada professionally. So, just from that, literally from the time I could walk, always had a ball at my feet. So I can't even give you a time or age when I started playing.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
So then let's just say when you were, even now, like you're still, well, actually that's something you should say. Maybe we'll get to that. But when you started playing, outside of your family, outside of your immediate family, your dad, uncles, etc., did you have any football idols?
Like professional players or professional? Yeah. Oh man, I had a lot. They changed over time, but when I was young, it was Ronaldinho was the biggest one. When I was real young.
Mm-hmm.
It would be Ronaldinho, Iniesta, and then as I got older, for me, Zidane became number one. That was just the most amazing player to me.
Yeah.
Zizou.
Okay, so how did you find Ronaldinho? Like, how did that start?
I had the DVD, the Jogo Bonito.
Oh, so younger Ronaldinho too.
Yeah. So I used to watch that, just
Mm-hmm.
over and over. I had the Jogo Bonito, and it came with a little necklace with a golden ball on it.
Yeah.
So I had all that, and then I had it came with the actual futsal ball, Jogo Bonito, the same ball he used in the video.
Yeah.
So I had all that. So that was my man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
How did you transition to Zidane?
That was more through my father because Zidane is my father's favorite player. So he has a lot of he has old tapes, like cassette tapes of like 2006 World Cup, 98 World Cup, and I would just go back and put those in a DVD player and watch Zidane against Brazil, Zidane against Croatia, watch those games, and I was just like, man, this guy's amazing.
That's true. So Masai, right? So you said like when Mike asked you the very first question how you started, you said it's people before you, right? So did you ever play in St. Vincent or did you play like in the DC area and stuff like that? Where did you start playing?
Me personally, I was born in the United States. So I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then I moved to DC when I was 1. So my whole football career, I came up playing in the DC area.
Okay. Did any club that you play for?
Yeah. So I started when I was young, probably like 3 or 4. I was playing in rec in Tacoma.
Okay.
I played in that up until I was about 10 or 11. That's when I went to started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did started and I went to McLean and I did a couple other clubs also in this area.
All right, cool. Yep.
Let's go back a little to your Zidane and Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho, yeah.
So what did you like? I think with Ronaldinho, it's clear. It's easy to guess what you like, right? Like it's the flair, it's the smile, laughter. It's literally like you're at the playground.
Yeah.
When your dad introduced you to Zidane, what was attractive to you about his style of play?
For me, the biggest thing was just like how calm he was at all times on the field, no matter how any type of ball came to him, no matter how much pressure he was under, you could just tell it was like when he played, it was like he was in a meditation when he played. He was calm anytime he received the ball. And just even the way how he touched the ball, it's like the ball is an extension of him. So that just everything and how he moved on the ball too, it was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a question we're gonna get into early that we normally ask is, who are your top 11 players of all time?
Top, like, you want me to make my starting 11
No,
or?
I mean, you could do that, or it could just be top 11. It could be all forwards, it could be all midfielders, whatever. But I mean, some people do, they go from goalie straight to striker. Yeah.
I'm gonna just do my top 11. We're gonna play without a goalie.
Okay. Let's do it. It's the old Brazil. It's the 80s Brazil. The 80s and 90s Brazil.
Yeah, we don't need a goalie, man. But number one for me is Zidane, no question.
Okay.
Zizou. Then I'll go Ronaldinho is up there for me. Other midfielders that I look up to, Makalele and Vieira. Pirlo's in there for me. I gotta put Yaya Toure in there. I gotta say, I gotta have Iniesta in there. Man, we do a throwback. You know Socrates from Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have him. That man's amazing. Socrates. I'll put Messi in there.
Okay, you have two more.
I got two more.
Mm-hmm.
Two more.
All right. Let me pick wisely. Man. Man, that's a tough one. I said Pirlo already, right? Let's put a goalkeeper. I'll put Buffon in there. I love Buffon.
Okay.
Got one more.
One more.
Buffon, and then put Maldini in there too. Maldini.
Okay.
Nice.
11. That's a tough 11.
You didn't even Ronaldo and both Ronaldos.
I know. You forgot. I mean, you didn't forget. You just they're not on your list. Yeah, Ronaldo's, Maradona, Pele, Cafu. I mean, you go down to Rivaldo.
I mean, that's a tough list, though.
That is a tough list. And let me say to you, one of the things I love about your list is that it's it runs the spectrum of time, right? Like, so you asked if we knew who Socrates was. Yeah. I'm talking about Socrates nonstop. You know what I mean? Like, I always say like how he doesn't get any play, but most people, even people like our age, don't even know Socrates, like, because people haven't studied the game, and your list actually shows that you're a true student in the game. You know what I mean? Like, you're really, like, you name Maldini. I mean, like, most guys don't even know who Roberto Carlos is before I say about Maldini. Like, right, so right. Your list is impressive.
It's mature.
It's
a mature list.
True student in the game. Yeah. All right. So at what point, you say you started playing at Tacoma, and then you transitioned into starter, and just kept working your way up. So at what point, as you started playing, did you realize, like, okay, this sport, even outside of the pressures from your family, right? Yeah. This is football is what I want to do. Like, football is my sport.
I would say, well, there's two moments that I can remember, two specific moments. Mm-hmm. When I was 11, that's probably when I realized, like, I want to, really train and become really good at this. That's when I decided to really focus on soccer and try to put everything that I could into becoming the best player I could be. That's also when I started getting into like Kobe Bryant and all that type of stuff, and just looking at his work ethic and what it took to be really, to really be great at something. And then the other moment I can remember is when I was 13, almost 14. I went to Germany on an ODP trip, and we played against Dynamo Dresden, which is it's one of the best academies in Germany. The first team plays in Bundesliga too. Mm-hmm. So we played against them, and then after the game, one of the coaches from my ODP team, he comes up to me, like, after the game, we're at dinner or something, and he comes up to me and he's like, he takes me to the side because I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah.
So, but he takes me to the side and he's like, the coaches from Dresden, they were asking about you. They said, they wanted you to come be a part of the academy, and they really thought you were a good player. And that was a moment when I realized, like, okay, like I could really, I could really make this into something. I could really do something with this.
Yeah. No, that's dope. And so then let's take the the German experience. So, well, actually, let's backtrack a little. We're going to come back to the German experience, but you mentioned Kobe.
Yeah.
So, you had did you have other sports idols or folks in sports that you admire outside of football? Obviously,
Yeah, definitely. My biggest idol across any sport is Muhammad Ali, just for who he was as a person and also as an athlete, but as a person first for what he stood for and all of that. So I'll say Ali, Mike Tyson, Kobe, obviously, and then right now, a person I like a lot, a couple people I like a lot is I like Derrick Rose just because his persistence, his perseverance, and then also like Kawhi Leonard because he's real. He doesn't say a lot, but he just goes out there and he takes care of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah.
How did you get introduced to Muhammad Ali? And then first, before you can say that, can you? How old are you?
17.
Yeah, because the thing is, somebody's watching this and listening to this.
Yeah.
From everything you said thus far, they're gonna, they may think you're, your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or whatever it is.
Right.
You're. But yeah, how did you get it? How did you get introduced to Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson? I mean, like you just put out a list.
He wasn't born yet. He was Mike Tyson.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about Ali first. I mean, Ali, like I've known about Ali, all my life. Like everybody's known, about Ali all my life, and just kind of secondhand hearing stories about him, what he did, and then what really got me into Ali is I read this memoir by his daughter. I think it was his daughter Hannah. Hannah Ali wrote a memoir about him, and I read that, and it was just seeing him from that perspective, from the perspective of his daughter, seeing him like that, that really got me into Ali, and that's what got me. Like I started listening to all his interviews and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's sort of what got me into Ali, and then as far as Mike Tyson, just mostly just through YouTube, just like listening stuff about his story. Like that man has an incredible story. Everything that he overcame to get to where he was at. And then if you listen to him now, he's a very he's a really wise guy. You could tell he's been through a lot of stuff in his life, and you could see he looks at life almost in a different way from everybody else.
Yeah.
So I really respect him for that.
Yeah. No, I mean those are the reason I asked you that is, I mean, for me in my generation, those are icons, and I would think your generation, you may have said Floyd or from boxing and basketball, LeBron, etc. But the people you name says a lot about you and the way you view the world.
Right.
So okay, let's go back. Let's transition to your, when you realized that this game was something that you're really interested in Germany. So
can I interrupt you real quick?
Yep.
I forgot one of my biggest idols is Nipsey Hussle. Also, quick plug right there.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, can't forget him.
Yeah, nice. No, you're interesting guy. Very interesting. What's up? So, you said at 14 you go to Germany, you're playing, you balling out, and your ODP coach, I mean your the coach on your team, pushed you to the side to talk to you about the impressions of the other team, what they thought about you. And so, what did you? What did you think? right after that? And then what did you do? Like, what were your next steps? Like, like, how did you move forward from there?
Oh, okay. So my immediate reaction to that was my immediate desire was to try to figure out how can I get here. You know what I mean? How can I get to play in this academy as soon as possible? And then also it was like a confirmation for me that all the work that I was doing on my game, like, is actually paying off, and I was actually able to compete, and that coaches at that level could see that I had the potential to become a professional. So after that, that was with when I went overseas, that was with Virginia State ODP. So from there, the next year, I don't know if it was the next year or 2 years after, but I ended up on the regional team for ODP, Region 1 ODP.
Nice.
And with that team, we went to Scotland, got to play some really good games over there. And then after that, that would have been my freshman year of high school when I was in Region 1 ODP. And then I did another year of high school after that, sophomore year. And that's when, at the end of my sophomore year, that's when I decided I was going to go online and I was going to try to spend as much time as possible overseas training and getting that football and education to try to be prepared to sign a professional contract by the time I was 18 years old.
That's dope. So I want to also add on, right? You mentioned Muhammad Ali and how great Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and Kobe Bryant. So, and then you got a great opportunity where when I was 14 in Germany, it changed your approach, how you want to approach towards the game of football. I just want to know, because you named Muhammad Ali and a boxer, Kobe Bryant, and a basketball player.
Yeah.
What makes soccer different? I mean, football different than every other sports to you?
Oh man, to me, it's a couple things. I mean, it's the freedom of it, of you being able to go out on the field and express who you are as a person. You can express it in the way that you play. You can express your emotions on the field, and then also, I feel like the game of football, it teaches you so much about life, because there's so many high moments. Like, you can be on top of the world one week, but the next week you feel like, you just had like the roughest week of your life and things like that. So I feel like just the life lessons that's in football is probably one of the reasons why I love it so much.
That's dope. And then one more question too, right? Yeah. And then like we all, like you said, like that's a really good answer. Also, like we all know, like football is very competitive, right? Yeah. And they're especially trying to go to the level where you're aiming to get to, right?
Right.
How are you keeping yourself above average?
Oh man, to me, it's two things that I do. One thing is I don't really compare myself to people around me. I think about like the greats, you know what I'm saying? So I try to compare myself to like people that I looked up to, like Zidane, like Makalele, Vieira, and I try to look at how did they play the game, what level were they at, and where am I at now? Because that keeps me humble, knowing like I played good today, but Zidane is at this level, Makalele is at this level. So I know that keeps me every day. Like, I gotta raise my game to try to catch them. And then the other thing, because that could be overwhelming at times to think like, how am I gonna catch, Zinedine Zidane? How am I gonna catch Makalele? How am I gonna catch these guys? Yeah, exactly. So what keeps me kind of calm about it is just every week I try to just do a little bit more and try to get a little bit better every week. So just breaking that big goal down into just small pieces, that helps me out.
Yeah. So let's double tap on that a little bit. What is your weekly, routine, however you want to frame it, as you're, maintaining a prepping or getting better? What's your weekly routine look like as it pertains to football?
Yeah. For football, pretty much, I mean, every day, Monday through Friday, is multiple sessions in a day. Some of them are strength and conditioning sessions, and some of them will be technique sessions, and then some of them will be team training. So pretty much every day is at least 2 or 3 training sessions every day throughout the week. And then on the weekends is games. And if I have an off day, so say I play on Saturday and I don't play on Sunday, I'll use Sunday to to study the game, to watch game film, and stretch and recover and things like that.
Mhm.
What do you find to be the most difficult aspect of? Well, actually, let me backtrack. You have multiple training sessions a day. You do some strength training. You do some conditioning, technical, etc. What exercise what exercise do you hate the most in all of those, in all three of those?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I mean, I can tell you mine, for instance, but go ahead. Like, you go ahead.
Fitness, like running.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like, man. I just want to go out there. I just want to go and play. I want to touch the ball, but it's part of the game, though. Conditioning, I hate that.
Yeah. Okay.
What was yours, Mike?
I mean, it's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, so for instance, when I was playing, especially in preseason, we had to do what's called the Cooper.
Yeah.
So the Cooper is, you have to run under 2 miles. I mean, you have to run 2 miles under 12 minutes. And essentially, you're sprinting. I mean, at least, for certain body types. Like, my body type is a sprinter's body type, right? It's like, real quick, etc. So I don't have I'm not long like Vieira or etc. that can go that long distance. So if we're going 100 meters or 200 meters, I'm gonna blow you away. Like, it's not. There's no questions about it, right? But that going for, just going. I mean, like, after the first mile. I literally, the only way I was actually able to overcome it, like, I had to mentally, a lot of it is mental. So mentally I had to put myself in a place and just, like, all I said to myself was, just move, like, just lift your leg. That's all don't even think about it. You just lift it. Just lift your leg. Just keep going. Just lift it. I mean, and I hated this thing so much. And part of it was probably because I didn't see the point. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I could still get to that level of conditioning doing, say, sprint intervals, for instance, right? But again, this was back in the day. So, like, they the way they view it was like, no, we needed to see you run at this high pace for this extended period of time to show that, you're fit. You're ready. Yeah. Whereas, now I think the conditioning and the training methods are more, a lot better and more advanced. Even the resting, you have it good. You guys have it. you have it good, man.
Everything good, man.
A different animal, like, back then. I mean, like, some of the stuff we did made no sense. Like, it was just straight torture. Like, it was just torture work. Right? That's all it was. And it made our bodies, a lot of us didn't make it through because, a lot of guys have, the knees are completely damaged, hips are damaged, ankles are damaged, back, etc. It was really tough, and it wasn't a lot of. So I hated that long distance sprint, essentially.
That's serious.
But another question for you is, like, especially now you're primarily training, kind of prepping for, when things open up, so that you can, start shopping around to see where you can potentially get a contract. So what do you find to be the most challenging thing currently in your football career?
I think, like, the mental piece of being in a spot where things is kind of at a standstill, and just continuing to keep that belief in myself and in my plan that that things is gonna work out. That's probably the biggest thing is the mental battles that come with just the everyday.
Yeah. And how do you overcome
it? I mean, what helps me a lot is, like, looking at stories of other people, like somebody like Mike Tyson, again, like looking at the odds that Mike Tyson had to, overcome to get to where he got to. I mean, you can look at anybody's story, and you can see that anybody that got to, that high level, or any high level of success, they had odds that they had to sort of conquer, obstacles that they had to overcome.
Yeah. Question two. So Masai, right? Because the last question Mike asked about how do you overcome those type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like currently, like because when I was growing up, I have a couple of friends that had the same approach of the game. Do you have any friends, like people like around your age, like you talk to when you feeling down like that?
Yeah. I definitely that helps out a lot. I have a couple of friends of mine that's on a similar path that have, similar aims and goals as me. And I think that can help a lot because it's similar obstacles that we all have to come to overcome.
Cool. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this question first, and then I'll come back to what I wanted to ask. What has been the number one mistake that you can think of that you made as a footballer thus far?
Number one mistake. Oh man, you might have to come back to me on that. I gotta think.
It also can be regret too. So mistake, it can be a regret.
A regret in football.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's not one thing, but maybe it's, I would say, like in certain game situations, not trying certain things because of a fear that it might not work, because of fear of it might not work out. Like if I could go back, I would go back and try those things that I was afraid to do, and and just try it. You know what I mean? Because what's the worst that could really happen out of just going for it?
Yeah. Actually, you bring up something. So, couple of questions. What type of player are you? What's your natural position? Or what do you feel like most comfortable? What position on the field you feel most comfortable in? And then, what style of play do you enjoy the most?
So my natural position for me is the 6 or the 8. And I mean, I enjoy having the ball. I enjoy possession, keeping the ball. I like to play forward, to break lines. I like to distribute the ball with long passes, short passes, mid-range passes. I also like going on dribbles, playing a 1-2, carrying the ball and going at the defense and having some shots from distance and things like that. That's sort of that I enjoy more of the offensive side of the game.
So with that said, if I could make a call right now?
Yeah.
Top 3 clubs you want to sign to?
Juve, to work with Pirlo and to be around Cristiano, to see how he works. I have to say Real Madrid also, because of the culture of just winning and also being coached by Zidane also. Everything comes back to Zidane. But the third one, man, maybe
Look behind me.
nah. I can't do that. Can't do that, man. But, maybe another team in La Liga, maybe Levante or Celta Vigo in La Liga.
Wow.
Okay, hold on.
Yo, can I add on to all those clubs? Like, so what's your favorite club? Like personally?
Club?
Yeah.
Coming up, it was Barca. It's always Barca.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, I figured that from what he named,
Ronaldinho,
Iniesta, Xavi, Messi. It was like it was a, but also you so this is a lot to unpack here. You also named a bunch of French players.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like your top 5 are all French, like from
Yeah.
Machiavelli, Vieira, you just go down the list.
Yeah.
But you haven't named any French teams, which is, let's get back. Let's hold off on that real quick.
Yeah.
James said, why not, Chelsea?
He said no.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, why? Why is that? Yeah, that's personal.
I feel like
Chelsea needs somebody like you. Like, why wouldn't you? If we make that call right now, why not?
Yeah, I no offense to the club, man, but for me, I feel like development-wise, I feel like the La Liga, Serie A are better leagues for a player to develop in, to learn those leagues. And I feel like players more so go to the Premier League to get compensated, to go get paid,
Yeah.
But I feel in terms of development, La Liga and Serie A and Bundesliga too is up there, are some of the best leagues for a player to develop in.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
And then, so saying that though, what type of system or tactics would you want to play under?
I definitely want to have the ball. That's for sure.
Okay.
So, I don't want to be in a team that's always sitting back and, defending all the time.
Okay.
But I also want to have a coach that's versatile, that, can have a team that can shift in different systems so that it's not always, so that we're not always playing, 4-3-3. Maybe also I learned how to play in a 3-5-2. I learned how to play in a 4-4-2 with 2 lines of 4. Learn how to play in a 4-4-2 with a diamond in the middle. Learn how to play 4-2-3-1. Learn how to play all type of different systems. And I also would want to be under a coach that was very picky about the details, especially defensively, because I feel like that would help my game a lot, just in terms of defensive positioning and starting to understand the game a lot better defensively, and especially as a 6, organizing people and things of that nature. I think that would help me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, you mentioned, a few outside of course, La Liga and Serie A, are the bigger ones. But like you said, when it comes to development, my preference would probably be the Bundesliga, and Ajax is as good as any team when it comes to development.
Yeah,
getting you ready for any prime time. So there are a few options out there. What would you say? What do you think you do differently than other footballers?
For me, I think what sets me apart is my size combined with the technique that I have and the ability to play on both feet. I feel like that's a really rare skill set that usually you don't see footballers that have my height that also have the same agility and the same technique that I have that are as good on the ball as me.
With that said, you named Yaya Toure, right, as one of your top 11?
Yeah, definitely.
Is he someone that you definitely study a lot?
Definitely. And even I studied him a lot when he was at, like, his transformation from being at Barca to Man City, the different roles that he played and how he was able to take his skill set, to see how his skill set sort of plays itself out in that 6th position at Barca. And then when he sort of gets, unshackled at Man City and gets to play in that 8th position, has to see how that same skill set can be a lot more devastating offensively.
All right. So since you bring this up, let's
put yourself. I got you.
He seemed like he was sitting on this. Are you waiting on this?
No. I just want to know, from your perspective, who's your top 5, 6/8? So let's just say, for folks who, this is for footballers only, so you should know what we're talking about when we say 6 and 8. But if they don't know what we're talking about, first tell them, what we're talking about, and then tell me your top 5. You know, for both.
So if we doing top 5, we might have to do a different list: top 5, 6, and then top 5, 8.
Okay, let's do that.
We
Yeah.
can do that. All right. So the six is your holding midfielder. There's different ways to play it, but the primary responsibility of the 6 is to protect the back 4 defensively, and then to link up play from the back 4 to your creative midfielders, which would be in front of the 6, and also to your wingers and the strikers in front of them. And then the 8 is more of a roaming midfielder. So your 8 is your box-to-box guy. It's going from your penalty box to the opposition penalty box, covering a lot of ground and, connecting. Also has defensive responsibilities, but not as much as a 6 would.
Okay, let's do top 6.
What I said.
All right, top 5?
Top 5 of 6.
Of
Top
6?
5 of 6, yeah.
Okay. Fernandinho. He's in there. Makalele, of course. Pirlo's in there for me.
Oh, 6, yeah.
Pirlo. Oh man, I gotta put Essien. Essien is in there, no question about that. And then N'Golo Kante at Leicester City. That was amazing.
What a list!
Yeah.
Yo, that list is so tough. Yo, Mike, guess what you forgot?
I know. I'm not gonna say anything. I'll wait.
You talking about Edgar Davids?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I like Edgar. Edgar's not in my top 5, 6 though.
Okay. Whoa.
Okay, you know what? I'll let you finish, and then we'll come back to it.
Oh, that's still a top list.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're doing 8s now.
Yeah.
All right, Vieira is in there. Iniesta's in there. Steven Gerrard has to be in there for me. Paul Scholes.
Ooh.
And then Yaya Toure goes in there.
That's tough. That's tough. All right. Here's what I'll say. Okay. All the guys you named, right?
Yeah.
Kante, Essien,
McGilly.
who? Oh, Magalhaes, yeah. All those guys you need. If you ask any one of them, who do they think is like the best player in their position? They are gonna name Davids.
Oh man.
Not like so. Maybe you have see that. And this is good. This is good.
Oh, I've seen David. I've watched Davids play. I watched the other day. I watched Juventus against Milan. From I don't know, maybe it was like 2002. Pirlo against Davids. So watch that game.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I want just how you study Zidane and Ronaldinho and Yaya, study Davids.
Yeah.
And seriously, it's gonna one is obviously gonna improve your understanding of the game, but two is actually gonna make you a way better player than you even imagine. Right. Yeah. So, for instance, one of the things, recently everybody's talking about Thiago. It's like, having 1 million fouls at Liverpool, etc. And, this is an issue. If I was, their coach, one of the things that I would do is I would give him film to watch Davids and see. And a part of it for Thiago is a couple of things. One is, of course, he came under the that Barca system. So they Cruyff system, if you want to think about it. They play defense going forward, but it's also like the speed of play transitioning from Bayern to
it's a lot faster
to the EPL, and because he's surrounded by a bunch of attackers on Liverpool, like he feels he's But if he studied Davids, for instance, he will understand, like, Davids had the perfect blend of both an explosive attacker as well as a destroyer.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of guys you name were great destroyers, but they they would destroy and then, quickly like just lay the ball right next to them, etc., and try to move up. Where Davies even, gave Saddam. I mean, like when Davies and Saddam was on the same, it was magic. It was like, actually watch those games. Like, watch those games.
Go back. Watch when he was at Ajax as well too.
I mean, like, what you can watch him on the Dutch team. Like, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, especially when you watch him with Zidane at Juve, you would really start to appreciate the nuance and how, like, he even made Zidane a better attacking forward, right. Like in moving into space, expected, because this guy, they didn't call him a pit bull for no reason. Right. I mean, like he's gonna get that ball and explode, and like while he's exploding, he's looking for you, and it's a quick pass, and Zidane makes it happen. So Davids, I'm constantly, like James brought that up, because I'm constantly talking to people about Davids. Yeah. Davids was a monster, a straight monster. Yeah.
To go back to though, you never mentioned Seedorf too though. I'm sorry. Seedorf is
Seedorf was great. Yeah, I feel like Seedorf was more advanced though, more like a 8, like maybe 10? Like a 10.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of guys, but whenever somebody mentioned a 6 or defensive midfield or destroyer, you just have to mention Davies. Like, for me, like, so for instance, I don't know if you heard, but the France football selected the top 3 teams. They selected players to make the top 3 teams of all time. Yeah. And they didn't even have Davids in the nomination for midfielders, right. So I couldn't take that entire list serious. Mm-hmm. If you don't have Davids there, it's like, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, he was a game changer. He changed the game, and everybody else they had in different positions were game changers. And so, for me, having Maradona, Pele, Ronaldo, Messi, etc., all those guys, game changers. Yeah. Ronaldinho, game changers, etc. And Davies, he needs his place up there. Like, he's.
I mean, that list is already, because Zidane's already on the first team. So I mean, we can't even talk about it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that's a whole nother. Right. Actually, did you see the list?
Yeah, I think we talk about it outside that.
Yeah.
You saw, yeah.
Okay, what's your take on the list?
I don't remember it off the top of my head though.
Okay, yeah, because it's not like outside of the top. So you had Pele, Ronaldo, Messi, Maradona. Yeah. Then they just dropped off. Like, in the Zidane is not there in the midfield. Ronaldinho is not there. They have I think it was either Iniesta and somebody else.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Xavi. It was somebody
Iniesta. Oh, that wasn't? Oh.
Yeah, it was someone else. Yeah, in the midfield. And then but anyway, I mean, it's it's done. We had our top. We have our top 11 African footballer list as well. Which is a solid list. And of course, there was controversy, but that's what is expected. Once you create a list, you're gonna have some controversy.
Yeah. So so I have a question, right? So especially, I mean, this might be a little heavy question for you because it's a 17-year-old, right? But you could be a role model. You are a role model right now, especially you're chasing your dreams and trying to achieve it, and you're doing everything the right way. Right. So if you have, like, what advice would you give someone like younger than you, or someone it don't have to even be younger than you, someone that have the same drive that's trying to achieve something? It could be football. Like, what advice do you have, or what encouragement?
I think the first thing would be to have a goal. Like, one of my favorite quotes is by this motivational speaker. His name is Jim Rohn, and the quote is start when you finish. Basically, like, start on your path once you finish the idea of where you want to go. Once you know where you want to go, that's when you start. And then another thing I would say is study the greats, So whatever you want to do, look at who is the best at it and study them. Study, like, how did they grow up? You know, how did they train? What did they go through? You know, who did they have around them? So that would be another thing. And then probably the third thing I would say is just is to break your goal down into small steps and just go do a little bit every day to try to get closer to the goal. That's kind of that's my 3 cents right there.
Yeah. Not bad at all. So another question too, right? Because I know, because you talk about Kobe, you listen to Kobe and watch a film about Kobe. Like, what type of mentality or what type of approach do you take to prepare for a game? Let's say.
Or to prepare for a game?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the game. I think recently I've been trying to be like as calm as possible before the game, you know, relax as possible, and then try to get my focus on the game. And then also not think about playing for myself, because when I notice for me, when I think about playing for myself, that's when I'll get more nervous. But if I think about, let me just go out here and try to make the team better, you know, do what I can to help the team, and just think about the team, that keeps me calmer in the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We're almost getting ready to wrap up, but who are your top 5 coaches?
Top 5 coaches that I've had, or like professional?
Professional that you.
Professional coaches.
Yeah. I mean, you already named Perlo and Sadan.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they're on that list.
Yeah. No, I think you have to have Cruyff in there. For me, Pep has to be in there tactically.
Look behind me again.
What'd you say?
He said, "Look behind him." You know who he's talking about.
Oh, no.
What?
Mourinho. I put Mourinho though.
That's what I'm talking about.
I put Mourinho.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean,
Mourinho has to be in there.
That's who he's talking about.
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's 5. I mean, you said Mourinho, Pep, Cruyff, Sadan.
Oh, yeah. There you go. It's my 5.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a
Yes.
Yeah, that's a tough list. Left out a few, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where we're gonna kind of close out. The question I was gonna ask was, how can people get in touch with you? Any social media handles?
Right.
But I know what you said you don't have, so you don't do social media.
Right.
And can you repeat your age again?
17.
Right. So that's like saying, you're a fish and you're not in the water.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so tell us, like, how does that happen, and what goes into your decision making into making that decision?
Well, for me, coming up as when I was a little younger, I had all the social media, I had everything, like Instagram, so I had all that stuff. But it's been a year now. It was like probably a week before my 17th birthday was when I decided I was going to delete everything and try to just focus on my life. That was the biggest thing for me, is like I felt like social media, it sort of messed with my mind in a way that it had me constantly looking at other people's life and constantly comparing with other people, instead of just focusing my energy on trying to improve my own life and trying to take the next step forward that I needed to take. So that was the biggest motivation for me, in terms of leaving all that to the side and just trying to focus on right now, just focus on what I need to be focused on. And also to be more present. Like, if I meet somebody like just on the street, or if I meet somebody at a field, like have a real, face-to-face connection with them, instead of like a connection on the phone.
Yeah. So it was this decision, driven by comparison to other footballers, you know, or was it when you say, you know, you comparing yourself to others, was it comparing to other young footballers and what they're doing, how they're training, etc., or was it more so like just life in period, like, you know, like period, other folks, you comparing your life to other folks' life?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, you know, coming up, it's people that I've played against that, you know, I would look on social media, I'm like, damn, this dude is playing, like, you know, like getting called into this national team, stuff like that. And I'm like, I feel like when I played against him, I was better than him, you know?
Facts.
But it just comes back to what I said before of like, I'm not going to compare myself to him because I'm trying to be at like Zidane's level. I'm trying to be at, you know, the level that these dudes that won the Champions League. Yeah. So I know at Zidane, at my age, Zidane was balling. So I know I got to, instead of focusing on that dude that I feel like I'm better than, let me focus on, you know, on the greats and try to raise my level to be up there with them.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's an honorable approach, and you know, when I first heard it, I was like, this guy, I was like, this is different. Like as a coach, right? You know, we're coaches and stuff, and if I had, you know, if I was the coach at, if I was Pep or any of these guys, and you walked in, and we started talking and whatever, and you tell me when you told me about, you know, not having a social media account, automatically I will put you in a different category than everybody else, because it takes it's a completely different mindset. It's almost like, actually, it's a similar mindset to content. You know, like how he has this. You know, I think he just the other day he just bought a car, and it's like a, you know, like a mini car, whatever it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's like completely, you know, just different than all his national teammates, all his club teammates, etc. Like everything is, you know, like his focus is just on his game and just to get better and help out his family and, you know, those kind of things. And so, you know, I really think that approach is, you know, is this honorable one, and it's something that, you know, you should really talk about more. I think, especially to younger players. Yeah.
If I could add one thing onto that, is I remember watching, I forget, it was I think it was Deion Sanders, primetime, from, you know, football, American football. But he was saying, I think he was talking to a younger player in the NFL coming up, and he was talking about how all these players now, they focus on building they want to build their brand. They want to use social media to build a brand. But he's like, the brand is your performance. If you don't go out on the field and perform, there's no brand. Your brand doesn't exist if you don't go out every week and perform at a certain level. Yeah. So for me, that was more that sort of confirmed my beliefs of, you know, just focusing on in terms of football, just focusing on the performance, and all the other stuff, just remembering that everything else that comes along is a result of the performance that you're displaying, of the work that gets put in.
Facts.
Well said. Well,
yeah. So before we go, I want to ask one more question. So, especially with the social media stuff, you don't have it, right? So what other, like, because, you know, I mean, outside of football, right? Yeah. What other activity that you do to keep you focused or keep you going?
Yeah. I like, right now I'm getting into playing the piano right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my, other than football, if I'm not playing football or watching football or doing something related to football, I'm probably on the keys, just practicing and, you know, trying to get better at that.
That's dope.
You plan on dropping an album?
No time soon. It'll be in the future if it comes.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
Right? With that type of mentality, man, you can do anything, man.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
That could be another avenue, you know.
Yeah, I'm open.
Definitely. Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
How can, you know, if one of these, La Liga, Bundesliga, EPL, any of the big time programs, coaches see this and want to get in touch with you, how should they get in touch with you? Should they get in touch with us and then we we get in touch with you? Or?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. You had to probably you probably have to hit up James or hit up Mike, and then they'll come to me through the grapevine.
All right. Well, okay. So coaches, managers out there, scouts.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really get into Masai's footballing ability.
Yeah.
But I think if you're a footballer or if you're someone who's been around the game long enough, and if you listen to this this interview and you're Masai speak, it should be clear to you that this is someone who really knows the game, someone who has studied the game, even though he's only 17. Someone who's physically gifted, as well as technically gifted, and is constantly working to improve. Right. So there's all the physical gifts checks out. And then there's the part where I think as a coach myself, that I think this is where he stands apart. And this is why I would encourage, any program in the world will be the benefactor by having Masai on their team.
Yeah.
And he will come in as the rookie or whatever it is, and within a season, he would be the captain of the team. Right. And it's one of those things that and so I'm saying this to you guys, to the
listener,
coaches out there, etc. If your goal is to have a generational player on your squad, right? So the Zidane, the Ronaldinho, Pirlo, etc. If your goal is to have one of these generational players, and you can, say you contributed to their growth, etc., then you should definitely try to get this guy on your squad.
Definitely. Can I add on too? So we work with Masai, especially with his playing ability is solid. Not only that, or everything Mike just said, his approach and his mental, and especially in this era where you can, as a kid, a 17-year-old, you can focus on getting social media. That's already Mike said, you set him apart from everybody else, because they have to take a lot of discipline to understand where you're trying to go to make that type of decision. So, like I said, we work with Masai. His approaches, his skills, his work ethic is crazy. As a coach, you dream of players like that, and usually you don't have players like that. It's hard to find players like that have that focus, is working, know their weakness, want to keep working and keep improving. So, man, Masai, we lucky to know you, man.
Man, thank you, man. Thank y'all so much. Likewise.
Yeah. All right, man. It's been a pleasure. We will definitely do this again when we get the call. When Bundesliga call, or club call, or Pep, whoever see this and it's like, yo, wanna talk. Definitely, we'll have that interview right before you fly off to go to camp.
And right after that interview, just make sure I'm training you too. Right after that interview, we're training.
I got you, man.
All right, man. It's been a
pleasure. It was great.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank y'all. Peace.